So,
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Buffalo Talk Center. It's episode 15. Cal, we are 1 week away to the Bills season opening game against the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday Night Football. We're eagerly anticipating that. The Bills finally confirmed their 53-man roster. Each of us had made a projection last week of what we thought the team would look like. I think I did. I know I did pretty good. I'm pretty sure you did as well. We were had many of the same players on our lists. The only divergences came with the offensive line, but that's been taken care of for the Bills. So now we look on to week one. But before any of that, Cal, how are you doing?
I am doing fabulous. I mean, we had a banger week of college football. Of course, my Notre Dame Fighting Irish take on Miami tonight. So by the time this video is out, we'll know the result of that one. But other than that, some really, really good college games to get us going in week one. A lot of blowouts as well, but that's, to be expected with college football. And you got Power Five schools going against teams that are just trying to, make a little bit of money here and there. Of course, with week one of college football, like you mentioned, week one of NFL starts next week after Labor Day weekend. And we got a bunch of good games. We got a bunch of NFL news to get to, but let's start with the Bills because obviously this is a Buffalo sports account. Let's get us going. Week one, Sunday night football, last stadium in the Ralph. How are we feeling about that one? I know we'll have a preview video and picks videos coming out later in the week, so we're not going to give our predictions, score wise in this podcast, but we can just kind of talk about some storylines. So, how are you feeling about the game?
I'm always nervous for Bills games. Always am. It's better that we get the Ravens out of the way in week one. I would hate to face this team late in December. I hate to face the Ravens anytime because on paper they are a matchup nightmare for the Buffalo Bills, and that nightmare only became more compounded after the recent news today regarding DeWayne Carter. But we'll get to that a little bit later. I'm always scared to face the Ravens. I think Lamar Jackson is neck and neck there with Josh Allen in terms of who's the best quarterback or who is the better one of the two. They're basically tied in my mind. Although, since we are both Bills fans, I got to give Josh the extra leg, extra kick. They are both MVPs, of course. I only know this because Ravens fans on Twitter keep complaining about it. It's embarrassing for them. You guys got to stop. This they're gonna hate me for those comments, but yeah,
Oh
Kel, that's
yeah.
I don't know. But Ravens fans just it's gonna be another nail biter, I think down to the final couple of plays of the game, right to the end. Whoever has the ball last probably is going to win the game. Uh, Last year, the Ravens lost, even though they had the ball at the end. Isaiah Likely had a shoe size one too high. Hopefully that happens
Yeah.
and it benefits the Bills this year.
Yeah, and again, week one, defenses usually start a little bit better in the NFL than offenses. Now, in the last couple of years, that hasn't necessarily been the case. Of course, there's the new kickoff rule, and you could tell the league wants more scoring. They want more offense and less defensive games. So, implementing the new kickoff rule, that'll be interesting to see. I'm sure we'll see even less touchbacks this year than we saw in years prior. Tyler Bass, we don't know his health status as of yet. He appears to be fine, but the Bills a couple of days ago worked out three kickers, Zane Gonzalez being one of them. I'm a little bit worried about that. Of course, some of these kickers are not the greatest. Again, there's a reason they're free agents. Tyler Bass, not my favorite player. I'll be open and say that. I certainly don't trust Tyler Bass when the game's on the line. I know he hit that big one against Miami, but other than that, I don't trust him. We really shouldn't be worried about a field goal kicker. But at the same time, with Josh Allen as your quarterback, every drive you should be able to get into at least long field goal range. So if you have a kicker that can make routine 55, 60-yard field goals, I feel like this team just isn't going to punt at all this year. And it may sound a little cocky, but again, the running back room is great. Josh Allen's one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback in the league. And the wide receivers have gotten better from last year. How much, though? Not too much.
It all depends on Keon Coleman and how he takes his next steps. I think Josh Palmer is a significant upgrade over Mac Hollins. Love Hollins. Thought he was great. He was a good uh, stopgap sort of rotational player, but nothing more than that. Josh Palmer, great speed, great separation abilities. What were we talking about? I just want to keep
Yeah,
talking about how
yeah,
great
just
the Bills are. I totally lost my train of
right.
thought there. I don't know where I was going with that.
Yeah, just kind of comparing the teams. I mean, like again, we would be remiss to not bring up Derrick Henry in this matchup, right? Because Derrick Henry has always just clobbered the Bills, and he clobbers other teams too. But he's another year older. He's probably another tick slower than he was last year. At the same time, though, Derrick Henry is still, an absolute beast of a running back. Somebody you don't want to line up with, especially the Bills, who have had one of the worst rushing defenses the last few seasons. You mentioned, I guess we could bring it up, DeWayne Carter, Achilles injury, tore it, so he's out for the entire season. DeWayne Carter, I didn't expect much from him this year. Again, a huge disappointment last year. But this really puts the pressure on both rookie defensive tackles. Of course, Sanders and Walker, the behemoth of a man from Kentucky. And then, of course, Sanders, who's a little bit undersized, but has had a really good training camp so far. High hopes for both of those guys. And then we got to bring up Jordan Phillips because he could potentially be the guy to replace DeWayne Carter on the 53-man roster. We've seen what Phillips can do in the past. Phillips had, I think, the only sack in that Chiefs playoff game last season. So he is somebody who's familiar with the defense. He's a fan favorite for sure. How do you feel about the Bills' defensive line this year? Of course, if you want to get into Joey Bosa and some of the edges, you are more than welcome to as well.
Of course, yeah. I'm always concerned about the D line. Before the whole offseason, the D line was the biggest concern. Now that's safety. But the D line, especially with the DeWayne Carter news, you mentioned it. For anyone who doesn't know, he was the Bills' 2024 third round pick. Had a very underwhelming rookie season. Didn't do a whole lot to stand out. His offseason training camp, preseason games, equally did not go his way. So this is just another setback for a player that we thought could be really pivotal for the Bills this year. This is devastating news for him. Brings more questions about his NFL future than answers. We won't get to see what maybe would have been a sophomore step up for him. We'll have to potentially wait for that third year. But usually, with how torn Achilles and these sorts of injuries go, he won't even be ready for until week 1 of 2026. So that's a whole nother offseason that DeWayne Carter is going to lose, and that's just killer. That always sucks to see injuries like that happen.
Yeah, and especially a guy who disappointed last year. All of a sudden, his NFL career could be nearing a crucial point next season where the Bills could probably cut him if he doesn't have a good start to next season. It's a tricky situation. So hopefully, all is well with him and he recovers greatly. Talking about the Bills receivers, I want to look at this matchup week 1 because the Ravens, not only do they have a good team overall, but they have a really good secondary. And they added to that cornerback Jair Alexander from the Packers. How are you feeling about that one? Because Jair Alexander, he's a bit of a loudmouth. Of course, he's got that kind of budding rivalry with Josh Allen and
Hmm.
the Bills in general. Josh Allen's definitely got a point on him so far, but Alexander and the rest of that Ravens secondary could get their bounce back week 1.
Yeah, so they still have Kyle Hamilton locked him down
Mm-hmm.
to a huge contract. The Bills were in on Jair Alexander before why did we not get him? We were deep in the trade talks. I think he just wanted too much on a contract. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, a little bit of a cap issue, of course. Same thing goes for Micah Parsons, which we'll get into later too. The Bills do not have money, plain and simple. So
Right.
if you want them to really get anyone whose name you've heard of before, it's not going to happen. Joey Bosa was probably the last straw, and that's going to carry into next year as well. Of course, I think you're still paying Stephon Diggs this year, I believe.
Yep.
That comes off the book, so that should help you a little bit next year. But other than that, the James Cook move pretty much substitutes that, and you're in a tricky cap situation. We know Brandon Bean loves to, kind of fiddle around and make it work, but getting anyone to a massive contract like that just wasn't going to happen. And Jair Alexander just wanted a little bit too much. The Ravens were able to get the job done there. And they got a scary team. Like, I'll be
Very
first to
scary.
admit, like, this is not an easy game for the Bills whatsoever. I could see this game going either way. Again, not going to give my prediction. I'm hopeful as a Bills fan, but also could very easily see this game falling into the Ravens' hands. It all depends on Josh Allen. And I feel like a broken record saying this over and over and over and over, but it really is Josh Allen's team to kind of carry to a Super Bowl, or if he has a down year, they're not going anywhere, right? Like
Right.
Josh Allen is where this team starts and where this team ends.
Absolutely. No doubt about that. Josh Allen in that playoff game against the Baltimore Ravens, didn't really throw the ball too much. You wouldn't say that he had a spectacular game at all. And that game really came down to turnovers and the run game and battle of the trenches. And that's the same deal here. It's going to have to be one in the trenches. The defense, Terrell Bernard specifically, is going to have to step up. Need to go after Mark Andrews again.
Yeah.
No, he had.
What a
I was
game he had last year, right?
Oh yeah, I was watching those highlights a few days ago and I forgot how bad he was. No wonder why Baltimore Ravens fans wanted to run him out of town after that. But it's gonna have to come down to that because on paper, look, Baltimore is the more talented team. They got the bigger names. Catch your eye, more eyeballs will be on them. Lamar Jackson's more exciting. He runs a bit more than Josh Allen. Derrick Henry's in the backfield. Bunch of big names on defense with Jair Alexander. Um, the Bills are just gonna have to ground and pound, drain the clock, win the turnover battle, win the time of possession as well. Keep Lamar Jackson off the field. And that's always your strategy. That's not an insight. That's always your strategy against other elite quarterbacks. So it's what the Bills and Sean McDermott has always preached whenever he goes up against guys like Lamar or Mahomes, any of those sorts. So that's what the Bills are going to need to do. Stick to fundamentals. Try not to get injured, but you don't want to kick off your final season at the Ralph losing.
Yeah, and I think we got to bring up Matt Milano too, right? Because in years prior, he's been the centerpiece to stopping Lamar Jackson, kind of that guy who's going to sit in the middle of the field and have that QB read, kind of watch him, have the spy on him. And we've seen Lamar break Matt Milano's ankles in the past. It did happen. I don't want to be biased here, but I think overall Matt Milano's done a very, very good job at stopping Lamar in the past, and I think that's going to be the Bills' plan again this go around. We bring up the safety position for the Bills, and again, the injuries in the secondary. We'll talk about Trey White a little bit later. We don't know too much about his injury, but avoiding the IR has to be a good sign. Harrison, unfortunately, is on the IR, but will miss at least 4 weeks. But that safety room is, fortunately, the Ravens still don't have one of the best receiving groups. They did get better, right? They added, did they add D Hop, right? That
Yep.
happened.
That
So
was their big
again,
headline. Yeah.
yeah. So DeAndre Hopkins, somebody who getting towards the end of his career, but does he have one more season in him or two more seasons in him? To be determined. If he does, very well could save the Ravens season and could beat the Bills over top just height wise. He doesn't have the speed anymore, but he still has the route running, still has the height. DeMar Hamlin, he's going to see a lot of time. He's had a really rough training camp and preseason. Same goes with Cole Bishop. Taylor Rapp has all of a sudden turned into our kind of only guy we can rely on back there, which I'm sure after the first couple of weeks, I'll be saying not quite such great things about Taylor Rapp because he seems like a very streaky player that, can get on my bad side quickly. But he did have that pick last year in the playoffs. So maybe that'll kind of stay in the minds of Ravens fans. And we got to talk about the coaches too. Of course, Harbaugh, again, McDermott, they have a connection and they have respect for each other. It'll be interesting to see how this one plays out.
Absolutely. It's going to be a very close game, goes right down to the wire. And make sure you tune in later this week to see our predictions. All right? Look out for the preview video. Big plug.
Preview video Wednesday and then picks for week one coming out Thursday. Let's get off the Bills game because I think we've talked about all we can really talk about. Every podcast from here on out is going to be a Bills recap, and we're going to be fired up. This is, probably the last one where we're not going to be screaming into the mic. So
Yeah.
get ready for that. Let's talk about some other NFL news. Micah Parsons going to Green Bay. It shocked me. I heard the rumors, but I really didn't think they were going to trade him in conference. Did you see that coming at all? An NFC trade?
I I didn't think he was I'm lucky. I didn't think he was going to another NFC team, another big rival like the Green Bay Packers. And just getting two firsts and Kenny Clark for Micah, that's a pretty underwhelming return for a player on Micah's level, all right?
Yeah.
Um, at first, I was a little disappointed that the Bills and Brandon Beane couldn't have matched that. We could have easily matched that offer. Two
Oh, yeah.
firsts plus Ed Oliver. That would have been
Epinesa, Oliver, even Rousseau. I mean, for a guy like Micah Parsons, you probably pulled the trigger. Yeah.
probably. But then you see he's getting paid $47 million a year. Do you know how badly that's going to hurt the Packers in 2 years from now? Because the NFC is extremely competitive. Green Bay has to win the Super Bowl now. And if they don't, then they're going to be in cap hell. They won't have any draft picks because they just got rid of their top two firsts, their or next two firsts over 26 and 27. So they got to win now. This has thrown all their marbles in right here. They saw Detroit stagnate a little bit, and in the NFL, when you stagnate and you don't get better, you get worse. The Bears got better. The Vikings have a rookie quarterback. It's wide open in the NFC North. Green Bay has made a
Yeah, what a
huge play.
division.
Huge play.
Yeah, look at the pass rushers in that division too. I mean, like Detroit, their defensive line is incredible when healthy. I mean, you just bounce around that entire division. I mean, the Bears, okay. I mean, they still have a good defense, and it all is going to depend on Caleb Williams and that connection with Ben Johnson. We will see how the Bears do this year, but I think a lot of people mocking them last. And then the Vikings, a team that could very easily win that division as well. JJ McCarthy, quarterback, very unproven, but they've said he's like very mature through the stages. Last year, got kind of to sit on the bench and had that opportunity to watch Sam Darnold operate that offense. And I like Sam Darnold. I don't think he's the best quarterback of all time, certainly. So if Sam Darnold was able to do that, I think JJ McCarthy can step right in. And when you have wide receivers like Addison and Jefferson, I think you're going to be just fine. And Hawkinson as your tight end. So that division is going to be one of the best in the league, especially if the Bears can get it going and Caleb Williams learns the offense. Let's talk about jerseys. NFL rivalry jerseys came out.
Oh, yep, yep.
Um, I think we got to talk about that a little bit. Did you see all 8 of those before I give my opinions?
I saw all of them, but I'm just gonna jump right into the Bills one. That's the only
Yeah.
one I really care for.
Mm,
That and the Cardinals rivalry
mm,
jersey looked really nice, but I gotta say, I was extremely worried about the Bills.
mm.
Going with the 1960s, very dull looking navy blue and the gray and the chrome, whatever color, that grayish color. But they knocked it out of the park. That's a
They really
great,
did.
great jersey.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And like you said, I was a little bit worried they were going to end up looking like the Patriots jerseys that came out that kind of looked like what I envisioned the Bills were going to look like a blue. And don't get me wrong, I don't mind the Patriots jerseys. I like the logo on the shoulders and I like the helmets on those. But the Bills knocked it out of the park. Again, the shoulder crest with the snowflakes, you got the snowflake stripe on the pants, all iced out in the white, and that metallic on the shoulder. I mean, just a 10 out of 10 jersey for a one-off, right? Only one game they'll be wearing these, so you can't go wrong with those. The Bills kind of dropped the ball on this, and I think it's league wide. They aren't releasing these until like mid-September for fans to buy. So I get the Bills won't be wearing these on the field before that, but I've already seen thousands of Bills fans going on website A, website B. I'm not going to say, you know what I mean, though, overseas websites to
I've
buy
also
these
been
jerseys.
looking.
Yeah, I have too, and I've seen that there's some for like $15, $18. It's not going to be great quality, but I heavily considered getting one, and maybe I will if they keep these around. I don't know the rules on the rivalry jerseys. If they only can wear them this year, I know
Mm-mm.
8 more teams are getting them next year. Do you know at all what the
These
deal is?
these are to be in every team's rotation for 3 years, so two
Okay,
more seasons
okay,
following this one.
that
And
is
then,
good to know. So
yep,
the Bills will certainly wear them more than one time next year because this year they have throwbacks and they have red helmets, and it was just too much. So they're only wearing them once.
yeah. I don't know. I am heavily considering buying one of those jerseys, and if it's not that, I'll get like the iced out hat or something. But isn't it funny that they put Bill's Mafia on the inside collar? Do you
Yeah.
remember 10 years ago,
Ooh.
or just a little over 10 years ago, when they were filing suit against Bill's fan organizations, claiming that they don't want the Mafia to be associated with their team? Look how
Yeah,
far
and
this team has come.
yeah, and I saw a lot of the people who helped start, Bill's Mafia, the trademark the clothing on X, just kind of like, whew, like, yeah, exactly. Like, look how far we've come. Look how far this fan base has made it. Of course, beefing with the team, and we had an instance, I think, a year ago or 2 years ago, where something else like that happened. And they were stealing designs. The Bills were posting Bill's Mafia stuff, trademarks, and all that. And of course, once you start making money on a phrase or anything, it's gonna, there's gonna be clashing heads because everyone wants money, but it is cool to see that, and that's one of my favorite parts about the jersey as well. That helmet is nice too. This is something we really haven't seen the Bills do at all. We saw again, like some of these other teams that had jerseys, like the Rams. The Rams is cool, but we've seen it. It's just black with some
Yeah.
highlights of different colors. it's okay. I thought the Seahawks ones are really hit or miss. I think they have a chance to be one of the best. Hopefully they look cool on the field with that, different color and the feathers along the shoulders. There's a chance they look really bad. Miami's looked okay. The Jets
Yeah.
looked okay. We'll see. Again, it all depends what they look like on the field. A lot of people comparing these to the Sabres gold 50th anniversary jerseys, which when they first came out, a lot of fans hated. Then they saw how they looked on the ice with the white pants. It's a lot of Sabres fans' favorite uniform combo of all time. And we're talking about a team that has some of the best uniform combinations in all of NHL history. So I'm very intrigued to see how these look on the field. Let's talk about when they're wearing them, though. October, that's not going to be a snow game.
Nope. Can only wear it against a rival. And we didn't really have any options in December. It was going to be the Jets
Yeah.
game, which they're already wearing the throwback red helmets for, and then there's both Dolphins games are red in the middle, and then the Patriots game is off in New England in December. So this was it. This was the only opportunity.
Yeah, which is unfortunate, but at the same time, it is what it is. Like it's fine. It's going to be a nice primetime game to
I,
watch these jerseys, and yeah, the Bills are going to have a fun season for
Yeah, I
sure.
mean, for sure. As God currently shines his bright light over Cal's face,
Yeah, I
if
keep
anyone's
backing up
watching.
here. Yeah, the sun's slowly setting as we approach the beginning of week one.
See, this window behind me, I don't think these blinds have ever been opened.
Yeah,
These
I got
are
to get some blinds for this room for sure. Of course, this I got blinds in the other room with the TV, but this is the room we stream in, and yeah, we're sitting back.
Is that a bed behind you? Is that what we're seeing? Is that a bed?
It's a couch situation. We got the couch behind. We got a little rotate. We'll move the desk in here to stream and make videos, which we'll keep this set up for tomorrow. Little desk to do some college homework in, and
Hmm.
it's always a good time. It's always a good time in this room, watching sports, doing homework, doing some great stuff. As we are in, it's getting chilly. How's the weather? How's the weather down there with you? Because it's starting to get a little chilly here in the Buffalo region.
I'll tell you, it was 80 degrees today.
Whew.
So we're
Yeah,
still
we
pretty
were.
warm down here in Kentucky. We're doing good. Folks, if you ever want to move somewhere, go to Kentucky. It's always stupidly humid. It's gonna get cold, but when I say cold, I mean 20 degrees, 30 degrees. Walkable weather. All right.
Yeah.
Walkable weather. I will walk even in the 25, 30 degrees because there's no wind down here quite like how it is in Buffalo. It's not the same sharp, nasty lake effect crap. So I'll be able to walk to about a mile to school in the middle of December. It's great. It's
That's
great.
not bad. Yeah, I got that 25-minute drive 2 days a week, and that'll probably change somewhere in January in the winter. Probably have to go 4 days a week to end off my semester there. But yeah, it's never a fun drive in the winter in Buffalo unless you enjoy risky driving, which some people do, as we as we see very often. I'm sure you guys got a lot of reckless drivers in Louisville too. I feel like I've heard about that. There's a lot of racing going on in Louisville, a lot of street racing going on, and yeah, it's feeling like football weather, which is very fitting for week one of the NFL season. I'm pumped. I'm excited. I feel like this is again. I don't want to bring up the Sabres too much because they're still a ways away, but this feels like a similar situation to where the Sabres are in, where it's like a must-win year for the Bills. How many years in a row are you going to go deep into the playoffs and not win? Eventually, you got to luck into it, right? And not
Hmm.
have some crazy ending go against you. We're seeing the same thing with the Sabres. The Sabres, except instead of talking about a championship, we're talking about just making the playoffs. So two different levels of teams there, but the same issue. They just can't get to the goal. Uh, do you think like if you were to put a percentage on the Bills winning the Super Bowl this year, 0% to 100%, where you feeling?
I am feeling at a solid 10% chance. Until you beat the Chiefs, if they beat the Chiefs, even if it's in the wild card round, if one of those teams happen to be
Mhm.
there, then your odds go significantly up. You gotta beat the old master, gotta tame the dragon in order to conquer the land, and the Bills have not done that. They have not shown a capability of doing that in the playoffs. They've come close, but they haven't done it. So until then, I really can't say we're gonna win the Super Bowl. My heart's been broken. I love that
Yeah.
you and a lot of other Bills fans have optimism, but how many times can they fall to the Chiefs? Four times. They have to. It's almost like they're trying to do that. It's almost
Yeah, I've
like
seen you. I've seen you broken face down after the 13-second game, an iconic moment. Yeah, what a rough game that was. And like it, looking back on that game, it makes me feel better that it wasn't the AFC Championship, right? We still, although we probably would have beat the Bengals the week after. The Bengals are a team that could be considered our kryptonite, much like the Chiefs. We don't match up well against them at all. So looking back on it, the more further away from the event I get, the less bad I feel about it. And at the end of the day, it is good to have a winning football team because we could be like the Carolina Panthers, for example, who are going into this year. They have zero expectations. You even want to watch the games maybe for the first couple of weeks, and then you shut your TV off. The Bills,
Mhm.
at least we know at the end of the season, we should be in a good situation. And hopefully this doesn't come back to bite me. It almost has in the past. But I've said this the last 5 years, and we've always made the playoffs in a good spot, besides that one year where it was getting a little dicey. But they are a good team. They're a team that they're going to have a chance at the end of it. And that's all we can really ask for because you never know what's going to happen. Football's a crazy sport, single elimination, anything goes. And I wouldn't want to do it with any other quarterback, that's for sure. So it's just all about health this year, staying healthy, and maybe acquiring a safety slash wide receiver sometime during the year.
Yep, absolutely. But I don't know. I just beat the Chiefs. That's all I can ask for. Beat
Mm.
the Chiefs for the love of the Lord. Beat the Chiefs in the playoffs. It's got to happen eventually.
Yeah.
And until then, it's tough to see the Bills going back to the Super Bowl. It's so tough.
Yeah, we're going to see that regular season victory against the Chiefs, and then we're going to get to the playoffs, and yeah, two different teams, right? It seems
Yep.
to happen every year. Again, let's talk about the first game of the NFL season before we end this. We have the Micah Parsons less Cowboys taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. Right now, I think it's a 4.5 spread or something like that. I see the Eagles just absolutely dismantling the Cowboys towards the end of that game. It's going to start out close. The NFL wants this game to be close. They want eyes on, but they know they have eyes on. I don't think they're going to really care about retention in this game. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying that as if I know the league is rigged or something like that. It's not rigged, but I'm
Well,
sure
of
they want
course
to
not.
keep
Of
it
course
close.
not.
Yeah, no, never, never. But of course they do want to. If Roger Goodell got to pick, you'd want this game to be a barn burner where everyone's tuned in the entire length of the game. But I think it does turn into a somewhat of a blowout. You thinking the same sort of things? You got the Eagles winning.
Yeah, I do. I have the Eagles winning probably by 10 points. Brian Schottenheimer has not convinced me at all that he's a good coach here at the NFL level. His hiring
Yeah,
in the first place was like, what? And then you realize, oh, this
yeah,
is just a Jerry Jones crony puppet pick. And until,
yep,
and like, there's no other way to you can't sugarcoat that. It is what it is. There are far better guys on the market, and you went with an in-house hire. And look, that's a very Sabres-y move, Jerry. All
yeah.
right. Uh, and
Familiar move for sure.
and look, that defense was already kind of mid before or when Micah Parsons was on that team. Subtracting him, I know Deron Bland just got paid, but look, they don't have much depth in that linebacker core. They don't have much depth on the outside. Trayvon Diggs is not the player he used to be. A couple of injuries ago, yeah, sure, he was your CB1, but not anymore. Not anymore. And because of that, you're going to Philly. They're
Yeah,
showing off their Super Bowl banner. Their fans can be crazy. Jalen Hurts is going to try to prove once and for all that he's not overrated, that he's not in fact mid. Um, it is. It's the this is the Eagles' game to win
yeah, for
or to lose. Sorry, as Cal comes in and out. Yep, just nod your head. Pretend you heard that. Pretend you heard
absolutely.
all
Yeah,
that.
it's uh,
That's on me. That's my internet again, folks. Spectrum
a
sucks.
little
Don't
bit
buy
laggy, but
Spectrum.
I did hear it. It was just a little glitchy. Yeah. The Wi-Fi. Let's wrap this podcast up on one last thing, unless you have anything else to talk about. Let's just take a whip around the division, the AFC East.
Okay,
Um, let's just take a look real quick. We have the
let's do.
Colts taking on Miami in Indianapolis.
All right.
I'm not going to give
My
my prediction. If you want to see that, tune into the video on
Yep,
Thursday. But Don,
Thursday.
if you want to predict that one,
I'm gonna go with Miami.
okay. I got Miami starting off 1-0. What about Pittsburgh goes in to MetLife to take on the Jets? Another Sunday 1 o'clock game.
I don't think the Jets are gonna be very good. Justin Fields, yeah. Pittsburgh wins. It's gonna be a nasty
And then we
game. It's like
oh,
2016 or something stupid.
Yeah, again, that's a big game, right? Aaron Rodgers going against the Jets.
Yeah,
That'll be an interesting storyline. And then rounding out the division, another Sunday 1 o'clock game because none of these teams are really that good besides the Bills, right? Right,
right.
definitely not gonna bite that one. Yeah, right. Like,
Nope.
no way we don't win the division, right? Right, right. We'll see. But anyway, Sunday 1 o'clock game, we have the Las Vegas Raiders in Foxborough to take on the Patriots. Patriots favored by 2.5 in this one. These are two teams that are going to be fighting for that last wild card spot, in my opinion.
Yeah, the Raiders definitely improved this offseason. They finally have an adult at the quarterback position. That hasn't been said since Derek Carr left the building.
Yeah.
The Patriots are kicking off the Mike Vrabel era, and I think they're going to be good. I hope they're good because I drafted Travion Henderson in my 14-man league yesterday. Well, 2 days before, if you're watching this on YouTube. But so I'm hoping he pans out, give him some good punt and kick returning opportunities, let him take one to the house. But I think, gosh, that's a tough one. Got to give it to the Patriots. They're at home, right? Yeah. Raiders got to fly
Yeah,
cross
they are at
country.
home. Drake May slinging that rock. Yep.
What? Huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, Drake May. Yeah, rock. Yeah. Slinging that rock.
There you go.
He again, Drake May, very promising prospect for the Patriots. I don't know if he's going to be, the next great thing or anything, but he's certainly better than what they've had in years prior. So I think that's all I got for this week.
Yeah. Um, I think that's gonna do it. The final week of calmness before the NFL storm envelops all of us, folks.
Yep.
Get yourself ready to go. Tell your girlfriends, wives, families, brothers, sisters, anyone that look between 1 p.m. and 11 p.m. each Sunday, I will not be available. All right? You cannot reach
Yep.
me. Forward everything. My secretary will reach out to you in the morning, on Monday morning. All right? NFL is coming back. We're all hyped, of course. First NFL games on Thursday night. Cal, are you guys streaming that game? You and Jaden, are you gonna be doing that one?
I don't believe so. I think it was up for debate, but I got to get up early on Friday, and
Hmm.
I don't think the game's going to be close enough for it to be worth it. So I think we'll skip out on that one, but we'll be doing all Bills games, of course, and then if there's some marquee game, Thursday night, Sunday night, a one-off game, we'll do that as well. Again, probably more later in the season when standings are really in full swing there as well.
Right. Yep. But anyways, folks, make sure, of course, before you head on out to like and subscribe to this channel and to this podcast. We love the extra views. Make sure to follow us on Spotify, of course. Follow the Instagram, Discord. You know the deal. All the links are in the description. Make sure to turn your notification bells on as well. As we mentioned, the preview will be out on Wednesday.
Wednesday. Yep.
Wednesday. Yeah.
Wednesday, and then Thursday picks video. So that'll be our routine for most weeks. Bills game on Wednesday, and then weekly previews on Thursday.
Hmm.
There's some that are going to be flip flop because Thursday night primetime games. But yep,
Yep. But you heard the guy, you heard me. Make sure you do it. And well, that's gonna do it for episode 15. 15 of Buffalo Talk Center. We're kind of getting up there, Cal, getting close to the big 2-0. That's exciting.
yeah, I think we're gonna have to have a little celebration for 20. Every 10, we should do a little celebration. We should do like a theme. We got to think about it. We missed 10, but 10 was the zero celebration.
All right, yeah. How about this? If we when we make it to 100 or 50, let's go
Hmm.
50. Jaden will
50.
sing on the podcast.
There you go. Write it down. If you're still watching, write that down.
Clip it. Clip it.
Yeah.
He's not here to defend himself, but he's gonna do it. He
Yep.
understands the
He's
deal.
accepted.
But anyways, folks, make sure to like and subscribe, and we will see you guys next Monday after the Bills Ravens game. Let's go.